Today on The Freak Show, we have our first guest ever, and she is the extraordinary Banya Lim. This is a teacher that Sam and I have worked with for the past 4 years. She has changed our lives in very pivotal, deep ways, and we are so excited that she is our first guest. I can't think of a better person to talk about chi mastery and frequency than Banya Lim, because she truly lives it out. Lives, eats, breathes, just is frequency. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Banya. I'm going to read you her bio, and it is this: Banya is a multi-generational healer and an expert in energy medicine and training. With over 30 years of experience in Oriental medicine, she is passionately dedicated to teaching and guiding others in discovering their life's passions. Banya specializes in awakening the body's inner energy, empowering individuals to achieve their goals. Today's episode is very, very unique, and I can't wait for you to experience the frequency of Banya Lim. Here she is. Welcome to The Freak Show, everyone. Today we have our first guest that we have ever had since we started co-hosting a podcast, and this is one of our favorite people in the world. Her name is Banya Lim. She's an acupuncturist and spiritual healer and energy worker. And Banya, we are honored to have you here today.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Jaclyn. Thank you, Sam, for having me.
Absolutely.
Excited to talk about whatever we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, you have been such a pivotal teacher for me, and I want to share a couple of stories with our audience before we get going so they can get an idea of just how extraordinary you are. The first time I went to see you, I remember you taking my pulse before giving me acupuncture. And in my head, I was saying to myself, because I was going through a very transitional phase where I was trying to accept help. And as you were taking my pulse, I kept saying to myself, be open to receiving, be open to receiving, be open to receiving. And you looked at me and you said, Jaclyn, it is just as good to receive as it is to give. And in that moment, you read my thoughts, you read my mind, and you put me at ease. And another story I have for you. So we were having lunch and you looked at me and you said, would you like to have children? And I said, well, yes, I would. Why? And you just smiled the most peaceful, beautiful smile. And I think within 2 weeks, I found out that I was pregnant. And so you have a way of reading people in the most beautiful and honest way. And you also have a way, in my experience, of clearing up stagnant energy that I have never experienced before. In my sessions with you, I always leave feeling like I am viewing the world with a more expansive perspective.
Mm.
And I know you are a multi-generational healer, but the way that you speak and the way that you heal is done with such unconditional love. It brings tears to my eyes just thinking about it. So I want our audience to know, and those are just a couple of tiny stories. That doesn't even touch when you took us up Bell Rock. Yeah, Bell Rock. And we had that experience with you. You've been such a pivotal person and teacher in our lives. And I think it's so important for the audience to know you're not just a coach. You're not just a, energy worker. You are truly extraordinary in what you do and so gifted.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that. I think, as I'm sitting here listening to Jaclyn talk, the first time we met Banya, obviously acupuncture is an important part of your process, but I feel like an analogy is before you do the acupuncture, you obviously sit down with people and have conversations and kind of get to the root of what's going on in our lives and in their lives. And I feel like you do. It's basically acupuncture without the needles. You walk in, you sit down, and the first time I met
It's a great way of
I was
describing it.
in tears within 5 minutes of being there, and I had no expectation of that whatsoever. But you were able to basically just pinpoint a blockage in me emotionally that just opened up immediately. And so it was like acupuncture without the needles, just having that conversation. And like Jaclyn said, it's just um allows that energy to flow again. I think that we have a tendency to block and push down emotionally and that sort of thing. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you,
no, it was
guys.
great.
Thank you.
This is such a assurance that I'm on the right path, doing the right thing.
With
You know, oh, this is not good. Recently, talk of multi-generational. My mom she recently passed away a few months ago. And I realized that I'm also finding way to really doing the work that I do and really should dive into the work that I should do because she's keep coming to me to be true to yourself. And every day I kind of repeat that word and the meaning gets deepened every day. Being true to yourself, and it can apply to so many things, like true to yourself, appearance wise, the demeanor, the way you talk, and by the deep down, that layer gets deeper and deeper. True to yourself, and true to who I am, true to who I am as a human being, true to who I am as a spiritual being, so true to who I am as a soul. Sam mentioned that doing acupuncture without needle. Actually, my mom talked about this when I was very young. Eventually you get to do this without needles. And I never
You do.
understood this. I never understood what she meant. Like, how can you unblock it without actually using that in the body? It was through the information. And my information got clearer as I practice and as I get older. Right now, to the point that I know exactly what I have to do, what I should do, what I can do to clear the energy and actually through the clearing the information in each person. But one of the main information that I want to share with you that it awakened to me to this morning's meditation is that how amazing our bodies. And we don't think about it. Like everything is developing, everything is like becoming high tech these days. And with the AIs, and we want the next best device to buy, next machine, and more computerized, more intelligent than the next one. But we don't realize the most important, most intelligent thing that we have is our body. And it talks to us, it communicates with us all the time. But one of the main reasons that we don't think about this, I realize, is because we have been educated that way. No one taught us. When we cry, when we feel some way, when we are young, our parents didn't tell us, like, just close your eyes and feel into your body and listen to what your body is trying to tell you. Instead, we taught to listen to something outside of us, listen to our parents, listen to our
Perpetually.
teachers, internet, Google, but like go in and tap into yourself and see what your body is trying to tell you. And we haven't taught that way. I think that's the main reason. And over the years, we collect clues in here and there, and then we finally sometimes feel that, okay, all those times my body was telling me this. And we take our body with us to everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Literally, like this is something that machine, it's not even machine. It's like such a beautiful, intricate, amazing,
Energetic. Yeah.
not even universal equipment that we carry with us everywhere we go. It tells us what to eat. It tells us where to turn. And when you drive, and you just make a right turn here, you will go faster. Whatever there's this thing going on throughout our body and throughout our system. I think we are learning to pay attention more and more. And I noticed that people are paying attention more and more. And through this, we create our reality the way we want.
Well, what I hear from that too, and what I know in working with you directly, is that you have a channel into Christ consciousness, universal consciousness that I think humans are capable of tapping into, but you are more advanced than I. But what makes so much sense about what you're talking about is when you tap into that Christ consciousness, that universal consciousness, it's a whole new way of viewing and perceiving yourself and everything around you. And it also opens you up to an infinite amount of wisdom. And so it makes so much sense that for such a time as this, you are doing this kind of chi mastery and energy work. And I have a couple of questions. One is, you were just talking about our body's intelligence. And what immediately came to mind was, I bought a couple of new supplements. How can I know before taking them if they are good for my body? Is there some kind of like energetic test that I could do? And the same thing with food, because I know our bodies react to different types of food differently. Is there a way that we can check ourselves before taking something or before ingesting something to see if it's harmonizing with where we're at that day?
You can literally hold anything or any object or any food when you're grocery and write down first one of the first thing that coming up in your mind. You can hold in a water bottle and just close your eyes. When you close your eyes, your aperture opens up much more than when your eyes open. And you can see further with your eyes open than when your eyes are closed. And having a piece of paper, hold whatever the first thing comes to your mind, you can write down on a piece of paper. That's one of the quickest way to, but first, like activating your body energies is one of the most important things that we can do. And I talk about this in Chi Mastery System workshop, and you can actually access this on my website. In Oriental Medicine, there are Oriental Medicine is guided by two main theories: Yin and Yang theory and 5-element theories. In 5-element theories, talk about like everything that we experience in our lives can be explained through 5-element, and 5 elements are connected to each organs, and each organ has a relationship with emotion. One good example is kidneys. Kidneys connected to fear. Kidneys and actually urinary bladders, yin and yang pair, and their emotion is fear. And the meridian, I should have brought the meridian. The meridian is all the way in the back next to the spine. This is why when you're in extreme fear, sometimes in watching fearful movie, you say I have a chill going down the spine. Literally, you're feeling that in the body. Sometimes it could be subtle, but sometimes it's very obvious. You cannot deny that this is another reason why a lot of things that we say, a lot of words we say, a lot of phrases that we've been using for centuries, it's really based on based on the energy that we're feeling in the body. These words, these comments, these sentences, these sayings didn't come out by accident.
Mm-hmm. Like pain in the neck, like
Pain in the neck.
Yeah, a gut feeling.
Gut feeling.
Hairs on the back of my neck standing up. Yeah, I know exactly what you're
When
talking
you get angry, you put your hand on your side of the body, on your side. It's because literally liver and gallbladder channel runs side of the body, and that those channels are connected to anger. And also, when you don't like somebody, you look at them with the corner of eyes, because that's where the liver and gallbladder channel starts. And all this like movements, gestures, posture, are connected to energy line, energy system in the body, but also connect ultimately our emotions and our thoughts. This is the reason why everyone has a certain posture. You know, Sam has a very specific posture. Jaclyn has a very specific posture. You each other, since you're a couple, you probably know. You probably know if Jaclyn is coming from somewhere, even though you cannot see her face, just by looking at her silhouette, you can tell that's Jaclyn.
Oh yeah.
Because you know, there's a subtle movement, her hands or head, whatever that might be, you know that that's her.
And she's probably also the shortest person I'm looking at. But no, absolutely. Yeah. I can see her coming.
But Jaclyn, you also can see that, right?
Oh,
You know his
absolutely.
movement.
Yeah.
Posture. We ended up creating these very specific postures in our body based on opening and closing of the meridians within our system. And that's based on very specific thoughts and emotions. Does this make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, back to where when you were talking about technology, and we're always taking in inputs from the exterior. It's like our bodies are the supercomputer. You know, there's all the conversation about AI today. Our bodies are the supercomputer that's processing all the inputs from the universe, from the world, everything that's going on, exterior and interior. And it's just a matter of the processor not keeping up with the I don't know, the computer, all of the information that's being fed to it, or just not being aware of it. And so I think that's where you talk a lot about awareness of those things. And it's really basic, simple stuff. Close your eyes and feel it, right? It's not some big, huge math equation that we have to solve to get to the bottom of. We already know how to do it. It's just allowing ourselves to do it.
Exactly.
Well, you have said for the last couple of years that I've known you, I think it's been 3 or almost 4 years that I've known you now, but you said that there is an awakening happening. And so can you give us more detail on what that means to you and how you interpret that?
Yes, I'm really excited about that. Although it looks like all is falling apart in some way, but there is in inner desire getting stronger and stronger in each person. And that's same along the line of this computerization and AI development and focusing on technology. And eventually we'll go to the point that, it's like, I like this bluebird analogy. You know, this man was looking for bluebird. Bluebird is the answer to everything he was looking for: love, connection, peace. So he traveled around the world to look for bluebird. He went to the moon to look for bluebird. He went to the Mars, everywhere to look for bluebirds. And finally, he needed some rest, so he came home. And in his room, he found that the bluebird was in his room, the room all along. That's the same thing with the technology. We are going to the moon, we're trying to look for everything, but ultimately, what we are looking for is in here. And it's okay. Things are developing. Everything's become the technology is like developing, and that's fine. More we do, more we eventually we realize what's most beautiful and amazing is inside of us. And I believe people are focusing them more and more of that, and also trying to find the answer here rather than outside.
Mhm.
And utilizing technique from here is what's most important. And we are going to really use technology, AI, to meant to be when we are operating from here.
Oh, I think that's such an important distinction.
Well, I think that it's interesting because I've had this thought for a while now over the last, year or two with advent of AI or just the progression of AI, of all the fear around it. And basically just how will we be able to control this thing that is so much smarter than we are, quote unquote. Um, and the thought I've had around it is just that we humans are the inputs to AI. So everything that AI knows comes from a human, but everything that humans know comes from God, from a higher source, from the creator. So putting it in that perspective gives me peace on that topic. And I think that is in line with what you said. When we are operating from our God-given source, then we have nothing to fear, basically, because that is our source. We are AI and technology source. So there's a hierarchy there in a sense.
Why do you
We
sorry.
all came from source. We are literally, all of us came from source. That's how we can say we are one and we are connected. Sorry,
Mhm.
you're saying?
Well, I wanted to ask you about chi and why exactly is chi so important for fulfilling your potential, and why is fulfilling our potential important?
Mhm. Chi is, you can feel it,
Mhm.
you can tap into it, it's tangible.
Mhm.
Chi has been described as many different names throughout the history and many different culture. Chi, energy, universal energy, ghost, spirit, prana, all kinds of things. Sometimes some way it's God, some places, because it's invisible, but it moves things. It heals. And even for me, as time passes, my understanding of chi changes and it also deepens as well. Right now, in earlier time of my practice, I would say chi is it runs in a body, and it's like a blood vessel and nervous system in the body. We have energy system called meridian system in the body.
Mm.
In order for us to live healthy, happy life, energy has to move without any blockages. And blockages can happen through stress, bad diet, accident, all kinds of things. And what acupuncture does is find to a specific area to open them up. I'm explaining in a very simple way. But over the years, I realized that chi is actually everything. Chi is both visible and invisible. And everything's made out of chi, and everything is energy. Chi is energy. Even when you go down to subatomical level in quantum physics, you will see nothing but energy moving around. And
Mhm.
there's electron and proton, but everything else is energy. That's it. That's consists of more than 99%. But also proton and neutron are also chi as well. So what that means, everything is chi.
Mhm.
And the quality of chi is different for everything. But also emotion is chi as well. There's angry chi, there's there's joyful chi, there's a fearful chi, and so on. Since we know that the quality of chi exists, we can affect that quality of chi through our emotion and through our thoughts.
Well, I think, of course, this is so perfect that you're our first guest for the Freak Show, because freak stands for frequency. And what I'm hearing from that is chi and frequency are the same thing. Everything carries a frequency. Everything carries an energy. And my mission and our mission is to live the highest frequency lifestyle that we possibly can. And I think what you are doing is teaching people how to live at the highest frequency using their bodies.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And why do you think, Banya, why do you think that it's important for people to fulfill their potential? Because I think the perspective of a lot of people right now is our world is so chaotic. We're just in survival mode. I can't even think about fulfilling my potential. Or it's the world is so chaotic. I'm in survival mode. And it doesn't even matter if I reach my potential because the world is going to hell in a handbasket. I don't believe those things. But for any of the listeners that have those kinds of thoughts, what would you say to them? And why is it so important that we do pursue what we're here to do?
Okay. There is such an energy behind that very question. How am I fulfilling my potential? How can I fulfill my potential? If oftentimes people ask me that question, it's because they think that they are not fulfilling their potential. But what I would like to say to you and everyone is you are already fulfilling your potential just by being here. And we focus so much on this 3D dimensional world, on doing. And this is why we ask about, am I fulfilling my potential? We think that we are not doing, or we are not doing enough. But you are being enough. And you are already being. And if it's anything, focus on being. When you be, the doing part comes very naturally. It's just very natural next step. So just be first. And people are sometimes ask me, what does that mean? What is the ultimate state you think you will achieve by fulfilling your potential, or by doing whatever you think you should supposed to be doing?
A sense
You
of peace.
always end up in the same place, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's a sense of peace. But I asked you this several years ago, and you said that most people, they get on this track where they think that in order to have, they have to have, do, and then they can be. But the opposite is actually true, where you start with being, then you do, then have. Or is it have, or is it be, have, do? But you get the idea that we think we have to always be doing in order to have or to be in that state that we want to achieve. But you also told me years ago, you said, who are you picturing yourself as in 5 years? What does she look like? What does she sound like? What does she feel like? And I described it. And then you said, okay, now be her now. And I was like, oh my gosh, here I am trying to make plans and make this so overcomplicated, but I can be in that state right now, anytime I choose to.
And isn't that shifting your energy to be that? So now you are that because your energy is that. That was a word salad.
Well, the doing part, fulfilling the potential, the doing part, that thing, that energy, it already exists in the ether. It already exists. You call it a different dimension. It's here. It's already here. If you want to be a millionaire, if you want to be executive of something, you want to be something, you want to do this, it's already a moment you want something, God has given you that already. By being, you are just aligning with that, or being also means creating, matching that frequency to that state.
Mhm.
But we get lost. We do get lost in
Mhm.
doing and
Mhm.
having.
Banya, would you know, we recently created the Freak app, which is what we call calibrations for tuning your energy. Would
Mhm.
you write and record a calibration that we could share with our audience?
Sure.
You can do it on anything you want, chi mastery or this concept of being. But I feel like people need to hear your voice combined with that frequency music, because just listening to you, just looking at you on this screen, I feel that chi shift, that frequency shift in my body.
And thank you for remembering the part about being and doing and having.
Of course.
I believe what we ultimately are doing here is reminding ourselves of things we know. But it is so important. It is so important to be reminded. It's not, I'm not giving you any new information. I'm not actually teaching you anything. And actually, I don't believe that that's what I'm doing. I'm just reminding people. But the reminder is so important. On a core, on a soulful level, we come to this earth with all this knowledge already, but we need to be reminded because we're
Oh,
so good at forgetting.
I just want to let that sink in for a minute, because I know that that's true, but you're so right. You're so right. And it's interesting. The other day, I was having a conversation with several girlfriends of mine, and we were talking about purpose. And I said, I think one of my primary purposes on earth is to remind people of who they are. Because I think that you're so right. People do know, but they need to be reminded. We need to be reminded of how capable we are, how we can tap into that capacity of unconditional love, how we can tap into universal Christ consciousness. We are capable of those things, but
Mhm.
in a world that tells us we need a certain amount of education, or we need a tool, or we need a technology, it can become very distracting and hard to remember those truths.
Mhm. But I believe as a whole, we are coming to the point that we don't need any of the external stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have to come home. We have to come home to see that blue bar. It's already there.
Yeah.
And everything manifests from that point. And I do notice people are accessing that more and more.
And why do you think that is? How are they tapping into it now in a way that throughout the history that I know, we don't really have record of that that I know of?
The record is in our DNA. It's in our
It's
cellular
so
memory.
cool.
But at the same time, sometimes contrast helps us to come here. More
Like
things
divine
have fallen
dichotomy.
apart and everything. We innately realize the answer is not out there. That's why there are people coming in, going home more
Yeah.
and more.
So the more access we get to the external, the more we realize that it's not the answer.
Right. It's like yin and yang. You have to understand yang. You have to see the yang in order for you to understand. You have to be able to see and understand yin, and vice versa. Darkness cannot exist without the light. Light cannot exist without the darkness.
Mhm.
Left
Love
side
can't
cannot
exist.
exist
Yeah.
without the right side.
Yeah. Love can't exist without fear. We have to know the opposite in order to know truth.
Yeah. At the same time, I believe we are learning to embrace both.
Ah,
It's not one
That's a
or the
hard
other.
one.
Yeah. Same thing with, this kind of masculine energy kind of helps with the industrialize humanity and all that. But also, we are learning to understand the power of feminine energy. But it's not one or the other, it's both.
Yeah, we need both.
And we need both. And both are important. And we are valuing both more and more. And seeing the power in masculine energy, at the same time, seeing the power in feminine energy.
And we're stronger together when we use both. And we're stronger within ourselves when we tap into both. So I have a health related question because I think some people listening to this will be interested in how this energy work relates to health. And something that I have struggled with, and I think I know why I struggle with it, is a little bit of hypochondria. I'll get like an ache or a pain or a blood test where something is just slightly off, and my immediate reaction is to just start spiraling. I am getting better, and I think that it is a tool of, whether you want to call it the enemy or however you want to describe it, this tendency toward hypochondria or fear around my health or any kind of other fear is a distraction from my purpose. And it's a distraction from who I really know that I am. So for people that struggle with recurring fears or a recurring hypochondria, what are some ways that we can keep our energy balanced and emanating at a high frequency when that is something that lingers in the back of the mind?
So any kind of thoughts, especially what you consider negative thoughts, it's just thoughts. As long as we don't do 3 things, it passes. But that's first. So 3 things: trying to suppress it, trying to get rid of it, or judge it.
Don't suppress, don't get rid of it, don't judge it.
Yeah. It's like a cloud in the sky. It will pass. But if it still keep occurring, it's really important for us to look at it in the square in the eye. Because when we do 3 things, we don't look at it.
Yeah.
We judge it. We're not really looking at it. And give a time to ask this very important question. How is it trying to serve me? This thought or this fear. And if you give at least 15 minutes, just like give a time, like how is that thought? How is this fear trying to serve me? Let's say my mom had breast cancer. My sister had breast cancer. I have this gene. I have that gene. I know I'm gonna have breast cancer. I have to go check. I just checked yesterday, but I still worried that I'm gonna have it, breast cancer. How is this fear trying to serve me? And going deeper and deeper and deeper into it. First of all, everything happening in your body, every thought that coming into your body, it's ultimately trying to serve you. Oftentimes we don't think of it that way. Like, God, why am I thinking this way? What is wrong with me? But when we look at it squarely, look at it straight and say, how is it trying to serve me? And you will see. And a lot of when it's very, recurring a lot, it's oftentimes came from a very, very long time ago.
So it's deep within that DNA, so to speak.
And it's usually started very innocently, but still, it was our protective mechanism at the time. And we didn't keep doing it unconsciously.
Yeah.
And when we finally look at it, we can really see where it has originated from and how is it trying to help us.
Yeah.
because that was the only mechanism, only way that we can feel safe at that time.
Yeah. So with you and your own question regarding breast cancer, what do you feel like that fear is showing you, or what is it telling you, if you want to share?
So one of the people that, she couldn't come and see me. She was in Iceland. So I asked her to do this, and she said she went into meditation and asked herself, how did transfer serve me? It served me to check on myself, and she really didn't go to hospital to see a doctor, so she got to actually check and make sure she was okay. And also, she asked her sister, she has 3 sisters, to check on herself. So the other sister actually had something, so they get to catch that early on to prevent whatever that might have happened. So actually, it was good that her sister got to check, but she's the one who told her to do it.
Mm.
And she can monitor this early on before it get worse.
Mm-hmm.
And by just checking that regularly, she's okay. And ultimately, the fear was coming from her feeling not safe. Not feeling safe is a very common theme in humanity, I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And it came from also very early on in our lifetime, especially when we were children. What she really wanted to feel and experience was feeling safe, regardless. And she can access that within herself. She realized she can access the sense of safety within her. And it's literally within your body. It's literally within your system.
Mm-hmm.
And when she accessed that, she kept feeling it and feeling it and feeling it. And that fear didn't affect her eventually. So what she ultimately wanted was a sense of safety. It's not about the breast cancer or anything else.
I relate to that because I think for me, this year specifically, Sam and I have risked so much and it's paid off. But for the first part of this year, there was so much financial risk on the line. And so my focus was, okay, we got to figure this out. We got to make sure that we get these properties sold and, blah, blah, blah. But after that fear of like financial survival dissipated, that's when the health fear started to bubble up. And it was, I think I relate to what you just said so deeply because I think I was on my own search for a sense of safety. And once one aspect of my safety was cleared up and we were okay financially, then it was like, well, what do I need to worry about now? And the health was the first thing that bubbled up.
Yeah.
Why do you think there is that tends to be that kind of revolving door, Banya, of, okay, I got past this thing. Now I've got to find something else to worry about. And then I'll
Yeah.
get past that. And then now I got to find something else to worry about.
Because ultimately what we're looking for is the being part. But then we are trying to soothe ourselves by having or doing things again. But key is being. For her case, it's just a safety, or it could be something else, usually peace or love, safety. And that's what we want to experience. And that's what we want to access within ourselves. And we're trying to access that from outside. But we're going to be looking for that forever in our lives. But as soon as you just go into the place of safety, you wouldn't be looking for that forever.
Mm-hmm. So it's more of a habit than anything else. We've just trained ourselves that way, as opposed to the opposite of training our practice to be focused on being.
Because I think at some point in our life that we didn't feel safe. And sometimes it's important to go to that turning point when and how that happened, if you can be able to go there.
Mm-hmm. I think what I have learned, and this is specific to me, is that I lived so much of my life not feeling safe, not necessarily physically, but not feeling emotionally safe, which then lent to like physically am I safe and this hyper awareness, that when I got to a point where I was financially safe, physically safe, emotionally safe, it was like my operating system was so used to operating in a sense of fear that it just started looking for more fear rather than going, oh, wait, and to continue on a, operating system metaphor, we need to do an update to the next level of operating system, which doesn't involve all of this foundational fear. And I think that's what I am transitioning to right now is after being in survival mode. And look, I've thrived too. I'm not a victim at all in this, but we've had a lot of fear to overcome because we're trying to accomplish a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we are, I feel like on the trajectory that we are meant to be on, and it feels so good and it feels so aligned and it feels so harmonious, that harmony feels foreign.
Mm.
And so I think my operating system initially, when it felt that harmony, it was like, this feels so good, but it's going to go away. I got to figure out how to keep it rather than being in it
Mm-hmm.
and allowing it. And allowing that to become what I'm in the process of doing is allowing that sense of harmony to become my normal operating system instead of that harmony just being something I tap into here and there when everything's feeling perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very big dynamic and perspective shift,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one that is more recent for me in my life.
Mm. You said something very important. I use the word allow.
Mm.
We can also allow that fear. We can also let that be here. When we don't, we do one of those three things, trying to suppress it, trying to get rid of it, or judge it. But when you just allow it, okay, it's also almost like an unruly child. The fear. You can say, all right, you want to be here? I'm going to let you be here. And I don't know which doctor or scientist said this, and it is actually real true, is that as a energy, as a essence, any emotion that enters your body, it only stays in our body for 90 seconds. But our thoughts going to the loop, we make it stay here. It
Our
gets
thoughts linger.
Yeah. Those, but animals are very good at checking this off. Have you ever seen like animals fight like crazy, like almost biting and almost killing each other, and then go separate way, they shake it off and they walk off like as if nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Humans the one who lingers and fight, and my in-laws did this, my neighbors did this, and keep playing this in their mind. They don't know how to shake it off. It takes 90 seconds.
That is
And
so
when you
profound.
allow that in your body and give it a space, okay, you want to be here. But not as a thought, not as a story, but as a sensation in the body.
That's
Because
such an important distinction.
Because the thought would perpetuate it,
Right.
the energy.
But you understand what I'm trying to say, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you don't go in here, but you stay here.
Mhm.
And there's a location for everything. When I say safety, Jaclyn, the moment I say safety, where do you feel it in your body?
My
First-
stomach.
Okay. Love.
That's my gut. Mm-hmm.
But Sam, where do you feel it in your body? Whatever the first place come in your mind.
My chest.
Yeah, feel it there too. And also fear too. It has a location.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a sensation there. And there's actually both the physical and energetical. You can feel it there. And it's, or like I said, like an unruly child. Say, all right, I'll give you a space. And give it a space takes 90 seconds only. more you can hold, give your energy, you can do that. And then you shake it off and then go.
Mm. Oh, that's so powerful. So, Banya, in your Chi Mastery system, can you give us an overview of what you are taking your clients through before we end this beautiful interview?
My passion is for people to, I had one per client, she wanted to be sharing the knowledge of nature, how healing that is with the children.
Mm.
But she was doing completely different work prior to that. And she feels that there's no means of creating that in her life, even monetary wise, career wise, job and space and all that. But there's a way to create anything you want in our lives. We are here to experience our fullest joy in this lifetime for everybody. That's what God wants to do. That's what God wants us to experience. Truly, we are here to experience abundance in every which way. If you look at the nature, if you the animal, they're continuing. Their focus is continuing and expanding. We are here to expand. We are here to expand our energy in every which way. And there's a way to do that through accessing the energy within ourselves, through utilizing the body that we have, utilizing the best machine that we have, that we are born with.
Oh, Banya, I'm smiling so big because everything that you're saying resonates so deeply. And what you are doing is so important because you're reminding people how to be themselves. And when we remind people how to be themselves, we're able to tap into a whole new level of understanding and being that brings with it such high frequency emotions like joy, like love, like expansion. And so I'm excited that you are bringing this offering to the world because we need it and you are the one to teach it. I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Thank you. If people don't walk away with anything, I want our people to have at least have awareness that each of us has the most powerful tool that we have, which we call our body. And they start looking at our body, maybe perhaps in a different way from this point on.
And how powerful and beautiful and amazing it is.
And do not miss a point, like when our body is trying to tell us something. And if we don't pay attention, eventually it will start speaking to us very loudly, usually through pain, sometimes disease. Hopefully that's not the case for everybody, but it does it sometimes because it has to.
But isn't it true that as we clear up our energy and as we tap into that chi frequency, our body heals itself?
And it does every day.
Yeah.
Do you know how much stuff that we're exposed to in this world?
Yeah.
Not only toxins, but also negative information, everything. It clears up so much every day already.
How can we, just as like a last, well, I have two last questions. How can we assist the body daily with detoxifying physical toxins, but also those mental toxins?
It's always the most simple thing, most simple and easiest thing. Do not underestimate the power of water.
Oh, yeah.
But also hold the water, hopefully in a glass bowl or jar or glass, and hold it and put your intention. And then drink. Even if it's a plastic bag, plastic bottle, put your intention. our body is made out of 70-80% water. Dr. Emoto's water experiments shows that our thoughts, even words and music affect the water molecule. Our thought right away goes into the water. So put your water, even for 3 seconds, just say whatever you want to say. Say, I love you. I love you. Thank you. And then drink. And drink good pure water as much as you can.
Oh, Banya, I just love you so much. Where can everybody find you, and where can they sign up for the Chi Mastery system?
Chimastery.com or my website, banyalim.com.
Okay. And
Or anybody will come through yours, I'll give what we call clarity session. And there's a link to that on the website.
Okay. That's amazing. And I'll make sure I put those links in the show notes too.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Banya.
You are such a light. And for me personally, I could just cry. You emanate such a sense of peace to me. It's like every cell in my body harmonizes when I speak with you. Truly, it is such a gift.
I take it. I love you guys.
Oh, we love you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Banya.
Thank you so much for listening to The Freak Show with Sam Thurmond and me, Jaclyn Steele Thurmond. We would love to connect with you via our website, beckonliving.com, and on social media.
You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Beck and Living, and you can join our email list to receive uplifting messages, podcast and business updates, and discounts on high-frequency products just for our freaky community.
Cheers to high-frequency living.